On the city tower, when the kidnapper forced Xiao Heng to choose between two options, he chose his first love. To make him regret it, I jumped off the tower in a fit of anger. I didn't die, but ended up half crippled. I thought Xiao Heng would be heartbroken and his hair would turn white overnight because of me, but all he said coldly was, "Since you're crippled, give up the position of princess consort to Wanwan." On the day he married Song Wn, I died full of resentment on my sickbed. With my crippled legs surrounded by rats and bugs, when I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn back to the day of the choice. Xiao Heng still chose to save Song Wn. After shooting the assassin, he looked at me, waiting for me to make a scene. "Let Song Wn go. She has a heart condition and can't handle the shock." As soon as Xiao Heng finished speaking, the bandit pushed Song Wn off the city tower. Xiao Heng leaped from his horse, caught Song Wn, and held her firmly in his arms. Originally, the kidnapper was hiding behind me and Song Wn, so Xiao Heng didn't dare act rashly. The moment Song Wn was out of danger, Xiao Heng immediately ordered the archers to shoot. Arrows filled the sky, shooting recklessly towards me and the kidnappers. The archers deliberately avoided me, but the dense rain of arrows inevitably brushed past me. The arrows killed the kidnappers on the city tower, tore my robe to shreds, and disheveled my hair bun, with my hands and feet bound. I was like a human target, utterly unable to dodge, and Song Wanru, like a frightened rabbit, shrank into Xiao Heng's embrace. Xiao Heng carefully shielded her with his cloak, worried that such a scene would frighten her. Finally, seeing that the situation was hopeless, the bandit leader grabbed me by the back of the neck, intending to use me as a shield. "Prince Ning, you don't even care about your consort's life." Before the leader could finish his words, Xiao Heng had already drawn his bow to its fullest, and the sharp arrow flew straight toward the leader's throat. In the blink of an eye, the sharp arrow passed by the side of my neck, piercing the leader's throat while also cutting through the flesh on the side of my neck. Blood gushed out instantly. As a trained physician, I could keenly feel that this arrow was only a hair's breadth away from the vital point on the side of my neck. Had the arrow been just a tiny bit off, I would have perished together with the bandit. Xiao Heng appeared to save me, yet he did not truly value my life. In my previous life, my heart grew cold from the arrow Xiao Heng shot. Seeing him tightly holding the unscathed Song Wn, I acted on impulse and, wanting to make Xiao Heng regret his actions, I jumped off the city tower myself. Xiao Heng was brave and skilled in battle. He could accurately catch Song Wn when she was pushed off the city tower by kidnappers. But he failed to catch me in time when I jumped. That jump broke my bones, and blood splattered everywhere. I thought I would see Xiao Heng's agonized cries, confessing to me that he should have chosen to save me. But when I woke up, all I got from him was, "I could have saved you, but you chose to jump, who can you blame?" I fell and was half crippled. The imperial physician said I would never be able to leave my bed for the rest of my life, and that I would be plagued by illness. I imagined that upon hearing this, Xiao Heng would turn white-haired overnight from regret, kneeling by my bedside and begging for my forgiveness, but he just held Song Wan's hand and came before me, coldly saying, "Since you're crippled, give the position of princess consort to Wanwan." I roared with anger and resentment, but he coldly scolded, "Lu Li, have you had enough? The prince's manor will support you for life. You won't lack for food." The prince's manor welcomed a new mistress, and the servants quickly shifted their allegiances. On the day Xiao Heng married Song Wn, I died in agony in the attic of the inner courtyard, with only rats and the maggots breeding in my rotting legs to keep me company before my death. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day when I was tied to the city tower, forced to make a choice. The kidnappers had all been killed, and the soldiers were cheering for the prince's skilled archers, under the watchful eyes of everyone. I appeared as if I had been ravaged by the recent arrow rain. My clothes were disheveled, and my hair was in disarray. Meeting Xiao Heng's probing gaze, he seemed to be waiting for me to cry and make a scene. "I, Lu Li, am also the cherished daughter of the Lu family, a family of military generals. This marriage with Xiao Heng was a match I sought through the military merits of my father and brother." Xiao Heng originally had his heart set on Song Wn from the Marquis household, but unfortunately, The Marquis household was implicated in a corruption scandal and was raided and punished. Unable to marry the one he loved, Xiao Heng had no choice but to settle for me, who was eager to marry him. Not long after the marriage, Xiao Heng took Song Wn, who was of slave status, into his residence. Song Wn had a heart condition and would often feign fragility, which constantly worried Xiao Heng. I thought Xiao Heng had a preference for delicate beauties. So I frequently jumped into the lotus pond or deliberately fell from trees, using self-harm to gain a bit of his favor. At this moment, Xiao Heng looked at me, assuming I would surely resort to my old tricks, first crying, then making a scene, and finally threatening suicide. But I simply held the bleeding wound on my neck, cherishing my life, and calmly stepped down from the dangerous high platform on the city wall. Xiao Heng rushed over to stop me, looking somewhat uneasy. Just now on the city tower, I was really afraid you might impulsively jump down. Xiao Heng indeed understood my temperament well. He knew I liked to use my life to capture his attention, and thus believed he could trample on my sincerity at will. I covered the blood on my neck and sneered coldly, "Your Highness, are you afraid I might jump, or are you hoping I would jump?" Xiao Heng's expression darkened. "What do you mean by that? Just because I didn't choose you? You dare to speak with such sarcasm." "I wouldn't dare. I was confident I could save both of you. Wanwan is frail and sickly, she can't handle shocks. Unlike you, a willful young lady from a military family, she has no one but me." As if feeling guilty, Xiao Heng raised his voice to defend himself. If it were before, I would probably have started a fight with him again. But now, I just find the man's chattering so annoying. I bent down with a humble expression and said in a virtuous and dignified manner, "Your Highness is right to reprimand me. I thank Your Highness for saving my life." Xiao Heng was taken aback for a moment and reached out to check my injuries, but I lowered my gaze and subtly turned aside to avoid his touch. "Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. It's still an inch away from the vital point, so I won't die," Xiao Heng said. "Go and call the imperial physician to examine the princess consort." "It's all my fault," Song Wn said apologetically. "Your Highness, you shouldn't have chosen to save me just now. The princess consort is your lawful wife. Seeing her injured like this, I feel that even 100 deaths wouldn't be enough to atone for my sin." As soon as she started crying, she began clutching her chest, sobbing weakly. But just now on the city tower, after Xiao Heng chose to save her, she threw a sentence at me. "Princess, if we both fall, guess who the prince will choose to catch? The loved one is fearless, even at the brink of life and death." She couldn't resist confidently provoking me. In my previous life, I was enraged by her words, and then I saw Xiao Heng immediately catch her after she was pushed off the city tower. So, in a fit of pique, I truly wanted to use my own life to prove that Xiao Heng had feelings for me. In the end, I ended up disabled. In my previous life, before I died, Song Wn came to see me one last time. Still wearing her wedding dress, she smiled triumphantly. "Lu Li, I only casually provoked you that day, never expecting you to take it so seriously. Now that you're crippled, the manor is my domain." Song Wan's twisted expression from back then overlaps with the innocent look she wears now. At that moment, the imperial physician arrived and, seeing that I had lost a lot of blood, immediately wanted to treat my wound. But Xiao Heng suddenly pulled the physician away. "Check on Wanwan first, she's probably frightened and about to faint." While everyone was gathered around Song Wn, I tore off a piece of my dress, hastily bandaged the wound on my neck, and then walked alone toward the palace. All along the way, they attracted many sidelong glances and murmurs. In a life-or-death crisis, Prince Ning would rather push his consort to her death to protect another woman, and it serves the Lu family right. Back then, she insisted on marrying Prince Ning no matter what. A forced melon is not sweet, and now she's tasting the bitterness of it. She brought it upon herself, hardly deserving of any sympathy. "Don't say that, it's so pitiful. If I were the Princess of Ning, I'd feel like dying too." "Well said, I truly brought this upon myself, but I won't seek death anymore. I want to live healthily and with dignity." I clutched my wound, feeling the pain that Xiao Heng had inflicted upon me. This pain made me increasingly clear-headed. In this disheveled yet resolute state, I walked all the way to the palace gate. I had previously treated the Empress Dowager for her health issues. If her headache flared up at night, I could enter the palace without submitting a formal request. However, the guards at the palace gate still stopped me, Princess Ning. To enter the palace and see the Empress Dowager, you must be properly dressed and free of bloodstains. A warm cloak was draped over my shoulders just in time, covering my disheveled state. I turned around and saw that it was Prince Rui, Xiao Jing, who had given me the cloak. Xiao Jing was born of the imperial consort, with a handsome and dignified appearance. Unfortunately, he fell into a cold pond in his early years, which damaged his physical foundation, leaving him constantly sickly. Amid the deceitful and treacherous struggle for the throne, Xiao Jing had no presence at all. The reason I remember him is because in my previous life, after I died tragically and the Lu family was destroyed by Xiao Heng, the only person who spoke up for me and pleaded my case was Xiao Jing, with whom I had no prior connection. He accused Xiao Heng of killing his wife, but Xiao Heng retorted, "Lady Lu jumped off the city tower herself and died from her severe injuries. What does that have to do with me?" Later, at my graveside, Xiao Jing, drunk and losing his composure, cursed me angrily. "Lu Li, you have no brains. To prove the sincerity of a worthless man, you actually destroyed your own body, utterly foolish to the extreme." He was so enraged that he vomited blood, weakly scolding me, "When I saved your life back then, was it so you could throw it away for a man? I saved you for nothing." He cursed so fiercely that my lingering, unavenged spirit bowed its head in shame, and I couldn't even recall when he had once saved my life. He was so enraged that I was truly frightened. But then I heard him weeping. He was at my gravesite, leaning against the tombstone and wailing loudly. I must also thank him for one thing. He wiped away the prefix Princess Consort of Ning from my tombstone, at least ensuring that in death, I was severed from Xiao Heng. Now when I see Xiao Jing, I feel inexplicably afraid of him. The incident on the city tower has already become widely known, and I'm afraid he might scold me for not taking care of myself. Just like in my previous life, this sickly prince is truly fierce when he starts scolding. But Xiao Jing only gave me his cloak to keep warm. "You must not appear improper in front of the Empress Dowager. Thank you for the reminder, Prince Rui." I bowed slightly, and Xiao Jing stared at the wound on my neck. The blood that had seeped out had already soaked through the bandage. I said, "It's fine. Let the blood flow like this. Let it flow for the noble figures in the palace to see." Xiao Jing's nearly outstretched hand was restrained as he clenched his fist tightly. His amber eyes darkened, their emotions unreadable. With his signal, the guards finally allowed passage. As I stepped through the palace gate, I couldn't help but glance back at Xiao Jing. His figure was as upright as when he had pleaded for my innocence in our past life, yet as frail as when he wept before my grave. I turned and entered the palace, unaware that Xiao Jing had also looked back for me. I entered the Yongshou Palace, knelt on the ground, and paid my respects to the Empress Dowager. As I moved, the wound on my neck was exposed, and blood seeped out with a strange fragrance. The Empress Dowager caught the scent and was greatly alarmed. A year ago, the Empress Dowager was poisoned after an assassination attempt by an envoy from the western regions. She found a woman to taste hundreds of poisons for her, and eventually discovered the hemp-fragrant herb to be used as medicine to save her life. After the Empress Dowager narrowly escaped death, her blood began to emit a unique fragrance. The only other person in the world with the same scent was the woman who had tested the medicine for her back then. "It was you who saved me back then," the Empress Dowager suddenly realized, personally helping me up. "Good child, why didn't you tell me? Back then, I had made contributions by testing the medicine." But Xiao Heng concealed my identity. He said that the Ning Palace was already a target of public criticism, and if I, as the princess consort, drew more attention, it would make him envied and harmed by the other princes. I loved him deeply back then, obeying his every word and never flaunting this merit. But in my previous life, after I became disabled, Xiao Heng took Song Wn to the Empress Dowager and falsely claimed the credit for testing the medicine. He used this merit to erase Song Wan's slave status, allowing her to become the legitimate princess consort. Given a second chance, I must act first and seize the opportunity. I knelt down, Your Highness, 2 years ago. I used the military merits of the Liu family to ask Your Highness to grant me a marriage to the Prince of Ning's household. Now, as your humble subject, I wish to use my merit of testing the medicine to beg Your Majesty to grant me permission to divorce Prince Ning, Xiao Heng. There are no secrets in the imperial city. What happened on the city tower had long since reached the palace. The Empress Dowager sighed and said, I shall grant your wish. After the Emperor's birthday banquet in 3 days, I will bestow upon you the decree of divorce. I returned to the prince's residence late at night. Xiao Heng was actually waiting for me. You went to the palace, I went to the imperial hospital to get some medicine from my master. My medical skills were learned from the head of the imperial hospital, Physician Yi, Xiao Heng said. Physician Yi is a master of medicine. You really value your life. Another day. Let Physician Yi also take a look at Wanwan. She was quite frightened today and has just been coaxed to sleep by me. I said coldly. My master said that she couldn't detect any heart condition in Song Wn from her pulse. She doesn't know how to treat a disease that doesn't exist. She is your master. So naturally she sides with you. You just want to imply that Wanwan is faking her illness. Do you think I can't tell whether she's pretending or not? She was so frightened today that she almost fainted. I listened quietly as Xiao Heng defended Song Wn, such a shrewd man, yet willingly feigning ignorance in Song Wan's deception. Perhaps this is how Xiao Heng truly expresses his love for someone. Xiao Heng had never seen such cold emotion in my eyes before. He softened his tone and took the initiative to explain. I was a bit harsh with my words today. Please don't take it to heart. The imperial physician said Wanwan needs rest. So I'll need you to take extra care of her these next few days. I thought of my past life and said with a smile, since you like her so much, Your Highness, why not take her as your concubine? Wanwan doesn't want to be a princess consort, she only wants to stay with me forever, she doesn't care about status at all. Oh, really? Xiao Heng softened his tone. Ali, let me be honest with you. The moment Wanwan was pushed off the city tower today, my heart nearly shattered. If anything had really happened to her, I wouldn't have been able to go on living either. How devoted you are, Your Highness. If I were to fall from the city tower, would you catch me too? If I were to die, would your heart break as well? Xiao Heng answered without hesitation. Of course it would, liar. After this incident, I realized that I cannot live without Wanwan, but Song Wan is of slave status. To truly give her a proper position, she must first have merits to exempt her from her slave identity. Xiao Heng held the back of my hand. Ali, the great merit of testing the medicine for the Empress Dowager back then, could you give it to Wanwan? Indeed, it's important to live a healthy life. If I were paralyzed in bed like in my previous life at this moment, Xiao Heng wouldn't even ask, he would directly take Song Wan into the palace to falsely claim credit. But since I am safe and sound, if he wants his beloved to take credit for my achievements, he has to fear these legs of mine that can enter the palace and this mouth of mine that can lodge a complaint. He has to come and ask me first, if Song Wan needs it, not only this credit, but even the position of the princess consort. I can give it up, I said magnanimously. You know, I always listen to you. Xiao Heng was very happy. He leaned in and kissed my forehead. Ali, you've grown up. In the past, I would have been overjoyed by his initiative for a long time, but at this moment, my eyes were cold, and Xiao Heng didn't notice at all. He had planned everything for Song Wan. 3 days from now, at the Emperor's birthday banquet, I will bring Song Wan to claim the credit for testing the medicine. At that time, all you need to do is keep quiet and act as a witness. Very well, Your Highness, I will certainly help you to succeed. Little does he know that earlier today, the Empress Dowager had already officially reported my contribution in testing the medicine to the Emperor. As long as Xiao Heng dares to bring Song Wan to falsely claim the credit at the birthday banquet, the two of them will be guilty of deceiving the Emperor. Xiao Heng is a prince, he cannot die. But Song Wan, a slave girl with a criminal background, falsely claimed a great achievement enough to have her entire clan executed once more. If I didn't fall to my death from the city tower, then the one who should have died must be someone else. 3 days later, before entering the palace, Song Wn deliberately thanked me in front of Xiao Heng. I, burdened with guilt, dare not hope for any status by the prince's side, but that moment on the city tower, facing life and death, made me realize my true feelings for the prince. She said with tears in her eyes, "Love always gives rise to greed. Song Wn is blessed with little fortune, yet fortunate to receive the prince's affection. And I am grateful for the princess's understanding." She tilted her delicate body and bowed deeply to me. How dignified and graceful she is, reminding one that before her family's decline, she was once worthy of being the legitimate wife of Prince Ning, in my previous life. Before entering the palace to claim credit, Song Wn also came to see me alone. At that time, I was bedridden and paralyzed, and my body was filthy and disheveled due to the maid's careless service. As soon as Song Wn entered the room, she disdainfully covered her nose, a gesture that carried more humiliation than 1,000 foul words. She said, "Do you know what the prince is taking me to the palace for today? The credit you earned for testing medicine for the Empress Dowager back then is about to become mine." At that time, the Liu family was implicated in a major embezzlement case involving military funds, and the entire family was imprisoned. I had intended to use this merit to ask the Empress Dowager to reopen the Liu family's case. My only trump card was taken by Xiao Heng to please Song Wn. I struggled in anger, trying to stop her from entering the palace, but my paralyzed body stiffly fell from the bed. Song Wn looked at my pitiful state and suddenly twirled in place, gracefully stretching her limbs. "Princess consort, during these days of your paralysis, I have danced for the prince every day." The prince said he loves my flexible figure. She bent down triumphantly, lifting my chin with her finger. In bed, the prince also prefers someone healthy. You know, he always enjoys trying new things. A playful man won't like a cripple who can't take care of herself. It was only then that I realized Song Wan's heart condition was just an act to win Xiao Heng's sympathy. "I pretended to be sick just to trick you into harming yourself. I finally deceived you into jumping off the city tower, leaving you disabled, Lu Li. Now you've become a sickly beauty too. But has the prince ever spared you a glance? Has he ever lost sleep over your injuries? Has he ever personally brewed medicine for you? Has he ever searched far and wide for renowned physicians on your behalf?" "No," Song Wn proudly boasted. "But he has done all these things for me. Princess consort, your husband's heart belongs to me, and the great merit of healing the Empress Dowager now belongs to me as well." She strode away, and I crawled to the door, wailing in agony, but my crippled and stiff body couldn't even make it past the threshold. In utter despair, I collapsed on the floor and endured until nightfall. Until an imperial decree arrived. It commended Song Wn for her great service in testing medicine for the Empress Dowager, allowing her to atone for her crimes, and granted her the title of County Mistress Jiaqing. The decree further stated, "The Liu family is crippled, and the corruption case against the Liu family is irrefutable. Liu Shi is demoted from wife to concubine. County Mistress Jiaqing is elevated to princess consort and will marry the Prince of Ning on an auspicious day." Overnight, Song Wn, the daughter of a disgraced official, stepped over me and gained both fame and status. When Xiao Heng truly loves someone, he plans for them with such meticulous care. In this life, Xiao Heng is still using the same old tricks, but with a bit more respect. No, it should be said, a bit more wariness toward me. It appears he is here to ask for my opinion, but in reality, if I don't agree, he always finds a way to make me relent. Song Wn remained in her bowing posture. Such a formal gesture required the person being honored to offer a hand and help her rise before it could be considered properly completed. I didn't move, just watched Song Wn bow and lower her head in front of me. Xiao Heng was somewhat displeased. "Princess, Wn is still ill." I smiled. "Your Highness, Song Wn wants to take my things, and you feel sorry for her just because she has to endure the hardship of a little beau." Xiao Heng was left speechless by my words. At that moment, Song Wn stumbled and fell right into Xiao Heng's arms. She quickly apologized. "Please forgive me, Princess consort. I am frail and lack fortune, but it is not due to a lack of sincerity," I sneered. "Someone as unfortunate as you, I wonder if you can bear the weight of such a great merit as saving the emperor." At the birthday banquet, after 3 rounds of drinks, the princes and princesses offered their birthday wishes to the emperor in order of seniority. The married princes were accompanied by their principal wives, while the princesses were accompanied by their consorts. On such occasions, only the principal consorts were permitted to attend. Everyone was in pairs, harmoniously united like the Qin and Se. Only when it came to Xiao Heng did it become a trio, with me, the princess consort, on his left hand, and Song Wn, a lover who wasn't even considered a concubine, on his right. He proceeded to offer birthday wishes to the emperor in this manner. Everyone noticed Song Wn, and some whispered among themselves, saying that on that day, Prince Ning had abandoned the princess consort's life and death for this woman of the Song family. The originally amiable emperor's expression turned subtle, while the empress dowager's face darkened. Xiao Heng, what do you mean by bringing a slave-status criminal woman to such an occasion? Father Emperor, Grandmother Empress, although Song Wn is a criminal woman, she has actually performed great deeds, but she never boasts about them. Song Wn cooperated by adopting a cool and detached posture of doing good deeds without seeking recognition. The Empress Dowager asked, "Is that so? There is actually someone who has performed great deeds without making a sound. Tell me about it, Grandmother Empress." A year ago, you were poisoned by a rare toxin from the western regions, and no antidote could be found. Later, a woman stepped forward and tested hundreds of herbs for you, eventually discovering the miraculous herb called hemp fragrant grass, which cured your serious illness. Indeed, it is true, the Emperor said. The woman who tested the medicine that day was by your side. Correct, the Emperor said this while looking at me, but Xiao Heng eagerly interrupted. That woman is the one by my side, Song Wn. The Emperor's face showed slight anger, but Xiao Heng remained completely unaware. He was in a hurry to seek credit for his beloved. That day, the Empress Dowager was critically ill, and it was Song Wn who stepped forward, saying that as a person bearing guilt, she was willing to test the medicine for the Empress Dowager. If it succeeded, it would be a way to atone for her mistakes. If it failed, she would die without regret for the Empress Dowager. After the medicine was successfully tested, she neither fought for recognition nor boasted about it, and never publicized the matter. Xiao Heng said, "As you all likely know, a few days ago, due to the mischief of vicious bandits, I almost lost Song Wn. After experiencing life and death, I have come to understand my true feelings, so even if Song Wn is unwilling to claim credit or act arrogantly, today I must publicly announce this great deed on her behalf. Moreover, I wish to ask His Majesty for a favor, to pardon Song Wn of her criminal status and allow me to give her a proper position." He was so deeply immersed in his affection for Song Wn that he was completely oblivious to the awkward and humiliating position I, as his lawful wife and princess consort, was in standing beside him. If it were before, I might have been heartbroken and furious, but at this moment, I simply watched Xiao Hengyan quietly. My anger could not shake Xiao Hengyan's interests, only the Emperor's wrath could. The more silent and understanding I appeared, the more absurd and foolish Xiao Hengyan seemed. The Emperor said in a deep voice, "Since it was Song Wan's merit, why are you the one speaking? Let her answer for herself." Song Wn quickly replied, "Your Majesty, Empress Dowager, the person who tested the medicine back then was indeed this guilty woman." The Empress Dowager asked, "Your entire Song family was executed, yet you hold no grudge against the royal family and were willing to test the medicine for me. The crimes of the Song family have already been pardoned by your Majesty's grace. This guilty woman dares not hold any resentment and only wished to save the Empress Dowager, hoping to atone for her sins through merit. What a display of magnanimity and righteousness." After praising her, the Empress Dowager suddenly asked, "I ask you, on that day when testing the medicines, only 3 herbs remained in the end. Which 3 were they?" After testing hundreds of herbs that day, Physician Yi ultimately selected only 3 mildly poisonous herbs: white sprout, brown crow, and hemp fragrance. Physician Yi intended to use poison to counteract poison. Audacious, said the Empress Dowager. How dare you lie? Song Wn was already feeling guilty, and being sharply reprimanded by the Empress Dowager, She was so frightened that she immediately knelt down. Physician Yi stepped forward and said, "When we conducted the final test that day, aside from hemp fragrance, the remaining 2 medicinal ingredients were ginseng and lingzhi." Song Wn quickly chimed in. Yes, it was ginseng and lingzhi. I remembered it wrong." As soon as these words were spoken, an uproar broke out among everyone in the hall. Dr. Yi sneered, "Ginseng and lingzhi are both highly nourishing substances. Why would you need to test them for toxicity?" Miss Song must have lost her mind to dare claim credit for testing the medicine in front of His Majesty. Only then did Song Wan realize she had fallen into a trap. Xiao Heng suddenly turned to look at me. Since Song Wan wanted to falsely claim credit, Xiao Heng naturally pressured me to recount the details of that day clearly. But who said I would definitely tell them the truth? Song Wan's lie was easily exposed. Xiao Heng quickly tried to cover for her. "Father, grandmother, Song Wan is frail and has a poor memory. She must have misremembered. That day, I was the one who accompanied her to test the medicine. I can prove it was Song Wan who tested the medicine for grandmother," the Empress Dowager said. "Then tell me, what were the last 3 ingredients used that day?" Yes, Xiao Heng was stumped by the question. Back then, the Empress Dowager was critically ill from poisoning, and it happened to coincide with Xiao Heng and Song Wan reuniting. Their old feelings for each other rekindled, and they became inseparable, unwilling to wait even a moment. However, with the Empress Dowager still ill, Xiao Heng couldn't indulge too freely. That day when I was testing the medicine, he was on the lake with Song Wan, lost in passion and intimacy. When he returned, I was pale and extremely weak, my face turning green from the interaction of the 2 poisons in my body. Xiao Heng saw me and, disgusted, said I looked like a female ghost, covering Song Wan's eyes to keep her from being frightened. Later, when I developed the antidote, Xiao Heng came again to warn me not to speak of it. "Isn't it just taking a few doses of poison? Do you think this counts as some great achievement?" Soon he became indignant again. "I've won battles without being as proud as you are. What are you so pleased about?" But the battles he won were all supported by my Lu family army, with my father and brothers planning the strategies. Of course, he had no right to be proud. Later, when the Empress Dowager recovered, the emperor was overjoyed and rewarded the imperial hospital. With Physician Yi as the head, Xiao Heng grew anxious again and came to coax me. "If the palace finds out it was you who tested the medicine, our Prince Ning's residence will only become more of a target. For the peace of the residents, Lu Li, you should keep this secret." I was so foolish back then, actually obeying his every word. He was heartless to me, and now he can't even lie properly. "What is it? Just say it." The Empress Dowager stared at Xiao Heng with exasperation. "Or are you, for the sake of such an unworthy woman, daring to deceive the emperor on her behalf?" I wouldn't dare. Xiao Heng panicked, looking at me as if pleading for help. The princess consort was also present that day. After Song Wan tested the medicine, it was the princess consort who took care of her. "Princess consort, you can testify that it was Song Wan who tested the medicine that day, wasn't it?" I remained silent and indifferent. Xiao Heng grew anxious. "Speak, have you gone mute?" As soon as the words left his mouth, he regretted them. He had grown accustomed to speaking harshly to me in the prince's residence, and now, even in the presence of the emperor, he had revealed his true nature. Xiao Heng was about to make amends when I suddenly had tears welling up in the corners of my eyes. I knelt before him and said with grievance, "Your Highness, I have already agreed to let your beloved take credit for the drug trial. What more do you want?" In front of others, I have always been competitive, having died once and witnessed the tactics of Song Wan, that delicate beauty. I have learned a thing or two from her. Tears welled in the corners of my eyes, my face full of grievance, as I timidly looked up at Xiao Heng, fully embodying the image of a fragile and innocent woman forced to endure humiliation. Everyone in the hall who knew me believed I had suffered an immense injustice. Those who didn't know me, seeing a legitimate wife and princess being bullied to such an extent, naturally had strong criticisms of Xiao Heng and his lover, thinking him utterly absurd. The Empress Dowager, who understood my grievances best, exclaimed, "Xiao Heng, have you forgotten that today is your father's 50th birthday? How dare you bring such an unworthy woman before your father and openly deceive the emperor? What are your intentions? Grandmother Empress, please calm your anger. Xiao Heng panicked and knelt on the ground to beg for forgiveness. I also pleaded on his behalf. Your Majesty the Empress Dowager, it's not the prince's fault. He is simply troubled by matters of the heart. Does being troubled by matters of the heart justify deceiving the emperor? The Empress Dowager said, Lu Li, you are too gentle, allowing such a woman to openly bully you, Your Majesty. Song Wn has falsely claimed great achievements and disrespected the imperial family. How should she be dealt with? The emperor did not even glance at Song Wn kneeling on the ground and casually uttered 2 words, beat her to death. Song Wn was greatly shocked. Your Highness, save me. Xiao Heng knew his father's temperament all too well. The fewer the words, the graver the offense. If he pleaded for mercy now, he feared he would even lose the reputation he had painstakingly built over the years. He dared not plead for mercy. This reaction threw Song Wn into a panic. Your Highness, are you going to abandon me? You chose me on the city tower, and now you're going to abandon me. It was you who made me claim this credit. Clearly it was you. Shut up. Xiao Heng suddenly roared at Song Wn. How dare you slander me when you're the one who did wrong? Song Wn was stunned by his roar, and the guard stepped forward to carry out the flogging as ordered. Song Wn suddenly clutched her stomach and cried out, I'm pregnant, Your Highness, I'm carrying your child. Upon hearing this, Xiao Heng immediately stopped the guard. Is that true? Has Your Highness forgotten that night on the pleasure boat a month ago? Song Wn said aggrievedly, stroking her still flat belly. I originally wanted to give you a surprise. This child was not easily conceived, so we should cherish it all the more. Song Wan's words carried a hidden meaning. 3 years ago, Xiao Heng had been injured while saving the emperor, damaging his reproductive foundation. The imperial physician had said his vitality was impaired, and he would likely have few offspring. Since then, the emperor had held Xiao Heng in higher regard. After all, it was this son who had saved his life. But the royal family values the continuation of the bloodline, as the throne must be passed down through generations. If Xiao Heng remains without a son, it would be difficult to pass the crown prince position to him. Therefore, Song Wan's pregnancy is especially important to Xiao Heng. The Empress Dowager didn't believe it and sent Physician Yi to take Song Wan's pulse. I know Song Wn is truly pregnant because, ever since I married into the prince's mansion, I have been helping Xiao Heng regulate his health. In my previous life, Song Wn not only stole my credit and was in theft as a county princess, but also announced to the prince on the day she married into the mansion that she was pregnant, making it a triple celebration. At the peak of Song Wan's pride and satisfaction, I, crippled and confined to a neglected attic, thought of the child in her womb, most likely conceived thanks to my tireless efforts in regulating Xiao Heng's health day and night, and found it both ridiculous and pitiful. Lu Li. That leap from the city tower truly served as the perfect wedding gift for that adulterous couple. Physician Yi finished taking Song Wan's pulse and said, Your Majesty, Your Highness the Empress Dowager, Lady Song is indeed 1 month pregnant. Having a child means I don't have to die anymore, right? I can rely on my son to gain status, right? Song Wn had experienced the confiscation of the Marquis's estate and was terrified of death, seeing that the emperor had not yet spoken to pardon her. She blurted out anything to save her life. Your Highness, if I die now, you will have no heir. You know your own body best. This child is your only bloodline. Only I can bear your child. I know you like me the most. You said it yourself, you married Lu Li only because you wanted the support of the Lu family's military power. You have ulterior motives for her, but your feelings for me are the purest. You spent 3 days and 3 nights with me on the painted boat. And you chose me on the city tower. Xiao Heng. Could all of that have been fake? Enough. Xiao Heng's secrets were about to be exposed by Song Wn, who was desperate to survive, furious yet constrained by the child in Song Wan's womb. He could only step forward to cover her mouth, preventing her from speaking recklessly. He then pleaded with the emperor, Father, considering that Song carries the royal bloodline, please forgive her for the crime of deceiving the throne. If punishment is necessary, I beg for your mercy to postpone it until after the child is born, the emperor, aware of Xiao Heng's sparse offspring, declared. The death penalty may be spared, but she cannot escape punishment, since Song attempted to falsely claim another's merit to escape her slave status. I hereby decree that she shall remain a slave for life, never to rise again. This imperial decree shattered Song Wan's dream of a mother being honored through her son. Even if she gave birth to 10 sons, she would forever remain a woman of slave status and a criminal. Song Wn had been playing the role of a sickly beauty for so long, hoping to win Xiao Heng's pity and use his influence to escape her slave status. Now, however, she was permanently nailed to the pillar of shame as a slave. Unable to bear the blow, she fainted, her eyes rolling back. Xiao Heng immediately rushed to hold her. The emperor then turned his gaze to me, my father. Fearing that the emperor would also hold me accountable, quickly stepped forward from his seat to plead, Your Majesty, Lu Li is the wife of Prince Ning. Since ancient times, the husband has been the guiding principle for the wife. If Prince Ning ordered her to do something, she had no power to resist. I beg your majesty not to blame her. With the Empress Dowager backing me, the emperor looked at me kindly. Lu Li, you have rendered a great service by testing the medicine for the Empress Dowager. As a subject, you have shown loyalty. As a granddaughter-in-law, you have shown filial piety. And as a princess consort, you have merely followed your husband's orders. What crime have you committed? Speak, what reward do you desire? The Empress Dowager gave me an encouraging look, signaling me to boldly ask His Majesty for the reward I deserved. So, in the grand hall and in the presence of all the ministers, I firmly declared, as you all can see, Prince Ning and the Song family are inseparable, their bond stronger than gold. A gentleman helps others fulfill their wishes. So I am willing to step aside. I beseech your majesty to grant me a divorce from Prince Ning. Xiao Heng was startled. Lu Li, what nonsense are you talking about? Your Highness, I have never been more clear-headed than I am now. You go to such extremes every day just to catch my attention, and now you want a divorce. Are you playing hard to get? Your Highness, I apologize for bothering you all this time, I said calmly but resolutely. Please be merciful and let us both move on. Xiao Heng realized that I wasn't just throwing a tantrum, I truly intended to sever our marital ties. His expression darkened, and the emperor did not immediately grant my request. Xiao Heng sneered coldly. Lu Li, a jealous shrew like you, who would want you once you leave the Prince of Ning's residence? Xiao Heng had hit the nail on the head. My Lu family holds the foremost position among military officials. As the only marriageable daughter of the Lu family, if I were to marry an ordinary court official, it would inevitably arouse the imperial family's suspicion. I could only marry a member of the imperial family. That was the fundamental reason why I was able to force the bitter-gourd Xiao Heng back then. The imperial family wanted to use marriage alliances to co-opt the military general's power. Marrying the daughter of a military family into the imperial household was an honor, but also a disguised form of stabilizing a hostage situation. The emperor did hesitate in this matter. No matter how great the merit, it could not threaten the emperor's personal interests. I resolved to burn my bridges and said through gritted teeth, Your Majesty, after the divorce, I am willing to shave my head and become a nun. Only asking to sever all ties with the Ning manor in life and death. Nonsense. My father urgently scolded me. You are in the prime of your youth, how can you become a nun? The Empress Dowager also said, Lu Li, you must not gamble with your future so recklessly. How could I not know that becoming a nun is akin to ruining my own future? But since ancient times, hasn't a woman always had to suffer greatly to free herself from a marriage? I've already tasted the agony of being torn apart and suffering eternal damnation in my past life. What do I have to fear from the pain of shaving my head now? Xiao Heng stared at me in disbelief. Lu Li, do you really despise me this much? Where is the Lu Li from before? She's dead. I met Xiao Heng's gaze. On the city tower, you made the choice with your own hands. Have you forgotten? The incident on the city tower had long been known to everyone. It was only at this moment that Xiao Heng felt a genuine sense of guilt toward me. Why must you go to such extremes? Besides being the Princess of Ning, you won't get a better title. No royal family member would want a jealous, abandoned woman like you, so narrow-minded, who says so?" A gentle voice interrupted Xiao Heng. Everyone turned to look. Xiao Jing, the Prince of Rui, who had always been indifferent to competition, actually walked to the center of the hall, performed a grand salute to the emperor, and said solemnly, "Father, I am willing to marry Lu Li as my wife." Xiao Heng was startled. "Xiao Jing, what does this have to do with you?" Xiao Jing said, "I just saw someone abandoning a pearl for a fish eye, and I couldn't bear to see the pearl covered in dust, so I wanted to pick it up and cherish it. My heart trembled. Could the bright pearl he mentioned be me?" Xiao Jing knelt with his back to me, and I couldn't see his expression. The emperor's brow relaxed. He simply needed a prince to secure the loyalty of the Lu family, the military generals. He said briskly, "Lu Li, are you willing to divorce Xiao Heng and remarry Xiao Jing?" I hesitated for 2 breaths, whether it was an illusion or not. During those 2 moments of hesitation, Xiao Jing's figure seemed to grow even more frail, like a pine tree gradually withering. "I, your humble servant, is willing to remarry His Highness Prince Rui." Like a withered tree meeting spring, Xiao Jing's back straightened up again, full and upright like a pine tree in spring. The birthday banquet ended as evening approached. I now held 2 imperial edicts in my hand, one for divorce and one for marriage. Xiao Heng caught up. "Lu Li, you will definitely regret this." I sighed deeply. "I already regret it now." Xiao Heng's expression relaxed, and a glimmer of hope actually appeared in his eyes. I smiled and waved the 2 imperial edicts in my hand. "It's too late to regret the divorce. I should have kicked you out long ago. You, how dare you?" Xiao Heng raised his hand to strike me, but his wrist was intercepted mid-air. Xiao Jing grabbed his wrist and pushed Xiao Heng away from my side. Caught off guard by Xiao Jing, whom he considered a sickly weakling, Xiao Heng stumbled back 2 steps and landed hard on his backside. Xiao Heng got up from the ground. "Xiao Jing, you can only ever pick up what I've discarded." In that instant, I clearly saw a murderous rage overflowing in Xiao Jing's eyes, completely at odds with his sickly, frail body. Immediately after, he actually threw a punch, intending to hit Xiao Heng. I quickly stopped him. "Your Highness, be careful of misconduct before the emperor." Xiao Jing was finally stopped. At that moment, a palace maid came to report that Song Wn had woken up in the side hall and was clamoring to see Xiao Heng. In the past, whenever Song Wan was mentioned, Xiao Heng's expression would unconsciously soften, but now, upon hearing news of Song Wan, a trace of genuine irritation appeared on Xiao Heng's face. Concerned for the child in Song Wan's womb, he hurriedly made his way to the side hall. As he passed by Xiao Jing, he unexpectedly tripped and nearly fell flat on his face. Xiao Jing calmly withdrew his mischievous right foot. Xiao Heng was furious and raised his fist to strike him, but ultimately held back, seemingly waiting for me to stop him just as I had stopped Xiao Jing. After all, this was outside the Zhengde Hall, and officials were gradually emerging from the hall. A single misstep could easily lead to a formal complaint. Xiao Heng looked at me. "Aren't you going to say something?" "What is there to say?" I retorted. "I would only remind my husband to be careful not to behave improperly in front of the court. Who are you to me?" Xiao Heng laughed in anger. "Lu Li, you are truly heartless." He turned and left in a huff. At that moment, Xiao Jing suddenly turned around and pulled out the hand I had been hiding behind my back. It turned out my right hand had long been clenched into a fist the size of a steamed bun. A playful glint appeared in Xiao Jing's eyes. "What's this for?" I said. "If Xiao Heng dares to lay a finger on you, this fist will land on his face first," Xiao Jing said with a serious expression. "My lady, I'm concerned about breaching etiquette in front of His Majesty." "Ah," my cheeks flushed hot. "What did you call me?" "Wang Fei," Xiao Jing said. "Only between husband and wife would one care about the other not acting impulsively and making mistakes, right?" "Yes." Xiao Jing suddenly let out a light laugh, and my heart skipped a beat. No wonder Xiao Heng would fall for Song Wan, who looked so delicate and fragile. Xiao Jing's birth mother was the most beautiful woman in the palace and the emperor's favorite consort. The emperor was quite handsome in his youth, and Xiao Jing, the only son born from their union, grew up with a radiant and ethereal beauty. When he smiled, I almost forgot who I was. I thought I had loved Xiao Heng deeply for many years, But it turns out I just hadn't tasted anything better. With the imperial decree backing me, I smoothly shed my identity as the Princess of Ning. On an auspicious day 2 months later, I was married off from the Liu family once again, before boarding the wedding sedan to the Prince of Rui's residence. My mother held my hand, unwilling to let go. Father looked serious, while my elder brother stood behind me, silently being my support. They feared that Xiao Jing would become the next Xiao Heng. Before I got married, my mother said to me, "In this world, women have no choice but to marry. But marriage is like betting the rest of your life. You already lost when you married into the Ning family. How can you be sure about Xiao Jing?" "Mother, I've been having the same dream lately." In the dream, I was bedridden. The Liu family was falsely accused and exterminated by the Prince of Ning, and when I died a tragic death, only one person gave me a proper burial, and only one person spoke out for the injustice done to our Liu family. That person was Prince Rui. Mother felt a bit more at ease then. Before I stepped into the bridal sedan, Xiao Jing solemnly bowed, bidding farewell to my family on my behalf. On our wedding night, knowing that I had married him partly out of strategic necessity, Xiao Jing took the initiative to say, "You needn't worry, the Rui Manor is peaceful and spacious. Plenty of room for you to move about freely. Just treat it as a branch of the Liu family estate. Feel completely at ease and unconstrained. If you are unwilling to be intimate with me, after marriage we can treat each other with respect, and I will never cross the line." What is he seriously babbling about? I leaned in and kissed him directly. Xiao Jing's face instantly turned bright red, even redder than the red dates on the bed. "Your Highness, I truly wish to be your wife." Xiao Jing appeared stunned. "That year when I was 6 and fell into the water, it was your Highness who saved me, wasn't it?" Before my rebirth, I had very few interactions with Xiao Jing. We only exchanged glances a few times at formal occasions like palace banquets and barely spoke to each other. After being reborn, I learned from the female physician Yi that Xiao Jing's frail health was due to him jumping into a freezing cold pool to save a little girl when he was 8 years old. At that time, Xiao Heng was on the shore. Xiao Jing did his best to lift the girl toward the shore, and Xiao Heng took over and rescued her. After the girl was brought ashore, Xiao Jing sank to the bottom of the pool due to exhaustion. Xiao Heng, who should have immediately called for help, stood frozen on the shore as if he were terrified. It wasn't until the guards discovered the situation that they jumped into the pond to rescue him. By then, Xiao Jing was almost at the bottom. Although Xiao Jing survived, his health was damaged, leaving him frail and sensitive to the cold, and that little girl back then was me. When I opened my eyes and woke up, Xiao Heng held my face and said, "I was the one who saved you. How will you repay me?" That's how I mistakenly thought, until just before my death in my previous life, when I heard Xiao Jing angrily say that he had saved my life in vain, and only then did I suddenly realize, Xiao Jing clearly didn't expect me to bring this up. "You only just found out." He actually thought that I had always known it was him who saved me, yet I still kept following Xiao Heng around. "You fool. How would I know if you didn't tell me?" I scolded him just as he had scolded me in his previous life, unable to hold back my sobs. "Prince Rui, you lost half your life for me, yet you didn't tell me. Did you want me to figure it out on my own? I'm so foolish. By the time I realize, it will already be far too late." It was only after I had already died once that I learned to be clever. But in my previous life, Xiao Jing was truly let down by me. "It's my fault, don't cry." He wiped away the tears at the corner of my eye with his hand, then tenderly touched the scar on my neck before suddenly turning around and pulling out a box of fragrant ointment from under the pillow. "Tonight, we'll use this." Me. I stared at that box of fragrant ointment, my face turning as red as a jujube. I'm not some innocent maiden who's never left the inner chambers. How could I not know what this bridal chamber ointment is for? I just didn't expect Xiao Jing to change the subject so quickly. I was still moved to the point of having snot bubbles stuck in my nose, and he was already thinking about this. "Let me apply it for you myself. Take off your outer robe." As he spoke, Xiao Jing began to open the ointment. My pupils trembled in shock. "Your Highness, I never expected you to be this kind of person." "What kind of person?" "I just happen to like this kind of person." I took off my outer robe and sat cross-legged on the wedding bed, Full of anticipation, Xiao Jing dipped his finger in the fragrant ointment and reached out toward me. I was about to close my eyes and enjoy the moment when I felt a touch of warmth gently cover the scar on my neck. I abruptly opened my eyes to see Xiao Jing carefully applying the ointment to my scar. This is the scar-renewing ointment I had someone bring from the Eastern Hu tribe. It can erase any scar. A young lady always cares about her beauty. How could you bear to have a scar? So, Your Highness intended to apply this for me, Xiao Jing retorted. What did you think it was otherwise? Nothing at all. Haha, oh heavens, I wish I could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. On their wedding night, Prince Rui saw his beloved princess, her face as red as a big jujube, rolling back and forth on the bed, back and forth, making the peanuts on the bed crackle loudly. I was rolling around when I suddenly felt something poking me. I reached into the quilt and pulled out another box of scented ointment. Holding the ointment, I asked, "Is this also for scar removal?" This time, it was Xiao Jing's turn to blush. He coughed twice and said, "No, it's not." We looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter, sharing a tacit understanding. I pulled him into the bed curtains. Tonight's top priority is to thoroughly discuss the use of the fragrant ointment. The next day, I slept until the sun was high in the sky before getting up. Surprisingly, no one came to wake me. As I got up, I nearly strained my back. I had thought Xiao Jing was frail, so I assumed I only needed to put in a moderate effort in that matter. I didn't expect him to still be fierce where it counts. However, Prince Rui must be a novice, lacking control and restraint. I got up and washed, hearing Xiao Jing shooting arrows in the courtyard, and I leaned by the window, watching him in a daze for a while. Xiao Jing's skin, as pale as cold porcelain, looked like gilded jade in the sunlight. The longbow in his hands was as powerful and composed as a swimming dragon, with every arrow hitting its mark. Although every arrow hit the bullseye, it was still evident that he was somewhat struggling. With only 70% of his usual power, it took a full 5 arrows to finally pierce through the center of the target, if it were a master in good health. The first arrow would have pierced the bullseye. It all comes down to his physical weakness. The prince never used to practice martial arts in the courtyard before. I suppose it was shot for the princess to see. The prince is mighty and fierce. The little maid spoke loudly in a whisper, almost explicitly stating that Xiao Jing was deliberately showing off for me. This servant will attend to the princess for her washing and grooming. I sat down in front of the large, clear dressing mirror and immediately noticed that the scar on my neck had faded significantly. After the incident on the city tower, I was so busy running around the palace to divorce Xiao Heng that I didn't even have time to tend to my own scar. The arrow wound was quite deep, and after it healed, a ridge of flesh formed. Even my master said it would take at least half a year for the scar to fade. But on the very first day of my marriage to Xiao Jing, he managed to erase the ugliest scar on my body. This is what it feels like to be loved. I don't need to struggle desperately. He just gives me the best without asking. Once I was dressed, Xiao Jing had finished shooting his arrows. I wiped the light sweat from his forehead, but he handed me his longbow. This bow is called Changfeng. It's exquisitely crafted and its lethality should not be underestimated. I made it myself. That day on the city tower, Xiao Heng shot and injured you with an arrow. Liar, you should hold the bow and arrow in your own hands. Take control of your own life and death, rather than letting others make the choice for you. Do you understand? I was stunned. Besides my parents, only Xiao Jing would say such things to me. Xiao Jing took my hand and made me grip the bow and arrow. Liar is the daughter of a military family. How can you be confined to the inner chambers? Raise your weapon. In my previous life, I died in the power struggles of the inner household, perishing in the war between a man and another woman. Xiao Jing erased the scars left by Xiao Heng and reshaped the soul that Xiao Heng had disciplined. I took the Changfeng bow and also grasped Xiao Jing's wrist to check his pulse. Though he was weak, he had not neglected his body. The condition of cold constitution can be resolved. I wish for your highness to live a long life, so that I can spar and make merry with you. Xiao Jing was taken aback for a moment, then firmly grasped my hand and said, "All right." While I was living a sweet and harmonious life in the Rui prince's residence, I also heard quite a few rumors about the Ning prince's household. I heard that after Song Wn realized she would always be a slave, she became insecure and insisted that Xiao Heng stay by her side day and night during her pregnancy. Xiao Heng, concerned about the child in her womb, had no choice but to accompany her. However, Xiao Heng always wanted to marry someone better to be his princess consort. After that incident at the palace banquet, the noble families saw through Xiao Heng as a heartless man who betrayed his first wife and was unworthy of trust. Marrying Xiao Heng means enduring the soft knife of his unfaithfulness. With such behavior, he has already lost much of the people's support, greatly diminishing his chances in the succession struggle, and his future looks bleak. No prominent noble family is willing to send their carefully raised daughter into the fire pit that is the Ning prince's mansion. After marrying, Prince Rui Xiaojing's health has grown increasingly robust. Originally weak and reticent, he now wears a smile every day, and the happiness in his eyes even outshines the favored imperial consort who is deeply loved by the emperor. Prince Rui never contended before, but once he starts, the highly favored imperial consort becomes his greatest asset. That day I entered the palace and spoke with the noble consort for a while. We hit it off immediately and felt as though we should have met much earlier. Given the current situation, anyone with eyes can see that Xiao Heng has become half a discarded piece. He is a man who bears grudges and seeks revenge for the smallest offense. Back then, he nearly cost Jinga his life. Now that he has fallen into such dire straits after divorcing you, even though it was his fault, he will surely blame all the wrongs on you and harbor extreme hatred toward you. The noble consort said to Xiao Jing, I fear Xiao Heng will not spare the Lu family. Jinga, protect your princess consort well. In the past, your mother advised you to watch the tigers fight from a safe distance. Now, it is time for you to enter the game. The noble consort's guess was correct. In my previous life, around this time, Xiao Heng framed the Lu family with the grave crime of embezzling military funds and even brought in the Vice Minister of Revenue as a witness, wrongfully causing my father's death in prison. In this life, he is bound to resort to the same old tricks to turn the situation around. We must break through from the Deputy Minister of Revenue. However, the Deputy Minister of Revenue, Qin Yang, is Xiao Heng's trusted confidant, with deeply intertwined interests. Moreover, Qin Yang is a cunning playboy. Threatening his wives and concubines would not intimidate him at all. He has 3 daughters at home. In his early years, bandits kidnapped his eldest daughter and demanded a ransom, but Qin Yang refused to give even a single penny. In the end, his eldest daughter was thrown off a cliff and died. How can we turn such a cold and calculating person to our side? Just as I was overwhelmed with anxiety, Xiao Jing's men brought back a 7-year-old boy from outside. This is Qin Yang's illegitimate child with another woman. He only got this son in his old age and dotes on him as if he were his own life. To avoid giving others a weakness to exploit, the child has been raised in Jiangcheng, over 100 miles from the capital. If we threaten him with this child, do you think he'll be afraid? I was astonished. Your Highness, how did you come to know this news? Leah, the Rui manor is not to be trifled with either. I gave Prince Rui a big kiss. With a hostage in hand, Qin Yang quickly softened, begging us that his daughter didn't matter, but we must not harm his only good son. So, when Xiao Heng made a big show of falsely accusing my father, Qin Yang turned against him in front of the emperor, counter-accusing Xiao Heng of embezzling military funds to raise a private army. When the fake accounts could no longer be maintained, he tried to pin the blame on the Lu family. Qin Yang loudly declared, the prince has done this kind of thing more than once. The emperor was furious, stripped Xiao Heng of his princely title, and exiled him to the remote fiefdom of Songlin City. As for Qin Yang, for his meritorious act of reporting, he was demoted and exiled, but fortunately, his son survived. Xiao Heng had a bad fall, but as long as he doesn't die, I can never rest easy. Xiao Jing, knowing my thoughts, enlightened me. Do you know how the Marquis of Song's family was wiped out back then? The Song family and the Ningguang residents were once as close as the Lu family, deep, generational friends. I got goosebumps all over. Are you saying that Song Wn is now a slave and an orphan because of Xiao Heng's doing? But he really likes Song Wn. How could he? Liking is one thing. But in the eyes of someone like Xiao Heng, how much is true affection worth compared to profit? I understand. I will make Song Wn the blade that strikes at Xiao Heng. When Song Wn was 6 months pregnant, I went to see her. She didn't look well, with a pale complexion and a thin body. Only her pregnant belly was prominently bulging, like a frail tree trunk parasitized by a hornet's nest. I thought, since you have Xiao Heng all to yourself, you should be living quite well. I remain calm, but Song Wan is easily provoked. Lu Li, are you here to laugh at me? Don't even dream about it. The child in my womb is the only bloodline Xiao Heng cares about. You will never surpass me. I have long set my sights on the imperial throne, yet she remains trapped in the petty struggles of competing for a man's affection. Even though I have already withdrawn from this battlefield, she still sees me as her imaginary rival. How pitiful. At this point, I even feel a pang of sympathy for Song Wan. I didn't utter a single harsh word. She simply handed the letter of accusation written by Qin Yang before his exile to Song Wan. The letter detailed how 3 years ago, the Prince Ning's estate was running a deficit and could only use the Marquis's estate, which had frequent financial dealings, as a bridge. The Marquis's estate was accused of embezzling 500 taels of gold in military funds, a deficit that originally belonged to the Prince Ning's estate, taking advantage of the Marquis's estate's trust. Xiao Heng diverted the blame, causing the entire Marquis's household to be convicted overnight. His most beloved Miss Song Wan lost her husband and mother, becoming an orphaned girl of slave status. Then, Xiao Heng appeared before Song Wan like a savior, making her regard the person who destroyed her family as a lifeline to cling to and please. From the private room came the sound of Song Wan's painful wailing. I knew then that the plan had succeeded. On the day Xiao Heng was banished from the imperial city, he was accompanied by Song Wan, who was 7 months pregnant. As they happened to pass by the city tower that day, Xiao Heng suddenly murmured, "If I had chosen Lu Li back then, would the outcome be different today?" He regretted making the wrong choice, which had ruined over a decade of careful planning. Song Wan stared coldly at Xiao Heng's retreating figure, so even the unwavering loyalty during that life-and-death moment had been tainted by Xiao Heng's calculated schemes. What affection was left to speak of? Song Wan pulled out the hairpin from her hair, its tip shaped like a blade. She gripped the pin tightly and, without hesitation, thrust it toward Xiao Heng's back. Xiao Heng staggered forward 2 steps from the stab, and when he turned around, he saw that the one who had attacked him from behind was none other than Song Wan. He grabbed Song Wan's slender neck and snarled, "You wretch, how dare even you betray me?" Song Wan's face turned red from the choking, but she laughed and said, "Xiao Heng, someone like you, everyone has the right to punish you." Xiao Heng froze. "What do you know?" Song Wan remained silent, only shedding tears. She was still so beautiful when she cried, but it no longer stirred a shred of pity in Xiao Heng. Xiao Heng grinned ferociously. "It's good that you know, saves me the trouble of pretending." He wanted to strangle Song Wan, to kill this woman who was bound to him as a stain of guilt, but he also wanted the child in Song Wan's womb. Finally, just before he could strangle Song Wan, he threw her to the guard. "Tie her up and put her in the carriage. Once we reach Songlin, lock her up until she gives birth. You still want the child." Song Wan suddenly let out a bleak smile. Then with astonishing resolve and strength, she pulled out the guard's sword. Amid Xiao Heng's horrified roar, Song Wan plunged the blade into her own swollen abdomen. That stab was so deep, it must have split the fully formed fetus in my womb in half. Song Wan hated Xiao Heng's bloodline, but she hated herself even more, hated that she had been deceived by her enemy, hated that she had feigned illness and sold her smiles, groveling and fawning just to win a smile from her enemy. In the end, it was all for nothing, a complete joke. Even in the underworld, she would feel ashamed to face her own blood relatives. Xiao Heng, to conceive this child, I even took medicine that harmed my body. Remember, in this world, only I, Song Wan, was willing to go this far for you. But someone like you is utterly unworthy of love. Now, I will personally kill this child. I want you to be left without descendants, just like my Song family back then. She hated herself, so without hesitation, She plunged the knife deeper, piercing through the child and through her own flesh and blood. Xiao Heng held her, pressing on the wound in her abdomen, wailing loudly. He wasn't mourning the woman who once loved him, but the son he had never met, the one who could have carried on his lineage. No matter how deep the hairpin pierces, it is still just a hairpin, 2 inches away from his heart. Xiao Heng did not die but was wounded and went to his fiefdom. Having lost his only heir, he had long gone mad. After recovering from his injuries, he raised an army in rebellion. Over the years, he had raised 50,000 private soldiers. Maintaining such a force required vast amounts of gold and silver, which he embezzled from the government's disaster relief funds and military provisions for the front lines. Now that the matter has been exposed, he can no longer afford to support this group of people and must act quickly to resolve the situation. The emperor fell ill from anger, and Xiao Jing was appointed as the commander. I accompanied him on the campaign. The rebel forces advanced to Chizhou City, the closest to the imperial capital, setting the stage for the final battle. The two armies were locked in a stalemate, with Xiao Heng and Xiao Jing locked in a fierce struggle. Xiao Heng's attacks were vicious, as if he harbored immense hatred toward Xiao Jing. "Why aren't you dead yet? You should have drowned long ago at the bottom of the cold pond. Lingering on all these years, competing with me for the throne, and even fighting me for a woman." He threw a punch aimed at Xiao Jing's vital point. Xiao Jing swiftly dodged, quickly twisted Xiao Heng's wrist in retaliation, and the sound of bone cracking could be heard. Xiao Heng let out a scream of agony. Xiao Jing gripped Xiao Heng's neck with one hand. "Do you deserve all that you've said? It's merely returning what rightfully belongs to its owner." These words enraged Xiao Heng, who surged up in a counterattack, creating a twisted stalemate where both were locked in a mutual deadlock. Xiao Jing held Xiao Heng by the throat, while Xiao Heng had a grip on Xiao Jing's vital point. The decision of who would win and who would live fell into the hands of me, the one holding the bow and arrow. I raised the long-wind bow, aiming the arrow at Xiao Jing. Xiao Heng was overjoyed. "Ali, you do love me after all. I knew it. You still love me. I was wrong before. Kill Xiao Jing for me. And when I seize the throne, I will make you the one and only empress." Before he could finish his confession, a sharp arrow pierced through his neck. I aimed the arrow at Xiao Jing, but it was just a feint to make Xiao Heng let his guard down so I could kill him. Xiao Heng's words were choked off by a sudden surge of blood in his throat, and he looked at me in disbelief. "Xiao Heng, I returned to you the arrow from the city tower." Xiao Heng vomited blood continuously, but unwillingly asked, "Why choose him over me?" I gripped the long bow. "So this is how it feels to hold life and death in my hands. You never chose me firmly. How dare you ask me to choose you?" I coldly drew my long-wind bow. This time, the arrow aimed at Xiao Heng's temple. "Xiao Heng, you are blocking my husband's path. Farewell, no need to see you out." The sharp arrow pierced through Xiao Heng's temple. This very shot I had rehearsed countless times in my previous life while lying paralyzed on my bed. Xiao Heng died tragically on the battlefield. The rebels were executed, and they all surrendered one after another. Xiao Jing was credited with eliminating the rebels, and the emperor appointed him as the crown prince. A year later, the emperor retired due to illness and became the grand emperor. Xiao Jing smoothly ascended the throne, and I was enfeoffed as the empress. He refused to select concubines, claiming he was physically weak, incapable, and too exhausted to handle matters of the bedchamber. I wonder who it is that pesters me every night for another round, strong as an ox, yet still willing to play the delicate beauty in front of me, saying he's powerless and asking me to take the lead. In the first year of his reign, I gave birth to a pair of twins for Xiao Jing. The two children are innocent and adorable, but they've inherited my temperament, lively and mischievous. Xiao Jing always sends Lina and Jiawa to the Empress Dowager and the retired emperor, stealing a half-day of leisure for us. I often think about how Xiao Jing lived in the previous life, how lonely and isolated he must have been. I can only compensate him doubly in this lifetime. True sincerity in this world is rare. It took me dying once to finally have a choice, missing a lifetime, only to gain this life of mutual love and devotion. Fortunately, after enduring hardships, sweet days have arrived. Lu Li, from now on, The rest of your life will be filled with bright and beautiful days. Full text completed.